Says that Justin was recording.
Mr. Parker, I had to change my computer.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our very first policy committee meeting, streaming with Google Meet. I hope everyone's doing well. It is Wednesday, March 25th, my son's 21st birthday, so today's a big day for us. I would like to call this meeting officially to order, and we'll start with approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to read over the open session minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We approved the open session minutes.
Okay, very good. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Mrs. Morris, we will start with policies for second review with policy 1-14, Board of Education policies.
Okay, good morning. This policy went to the Board of Education. Actually, all of these, all 6 of them, went to the Board of Education at the last board meeting, and I've received no proposed revisions from any stakeholders since that meeting on any of these policies. And we would ask to go to the board for review at the April 7th, I think it is, meeting.
Okay. Board members, since this is second review, do we want to do these one by one, go through these one by one, or go through approve them all at the same time?
It's up to you. We're finding a way.
Okay, since this is second review, let's do policy 1-14, 1-22, emergency drills, policy 2-1, fiscal goals, 2-3, statement of claims, 3-31, arrests and convictions, and policy 4-13, school assignment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll send those to the April board meeting for final review. Okay, that brings us to policies for first review, and we only have one: remote participation in board meetings. This is a proposed new policy. Has everyone had a chance to read this draft?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, since this is a new policy, I would like to look at A2, and I just want to have a discussion about under 2, a member may attend a meeting and participate board deliberations and decisions by remote participation. I did not think that it was necessary as an elected official to have C, G, or H on our policy. My personal opinion is that if you run for elected office, C, G, and H should not be necessary. Just my personal opinion. So I wanted to discuss that with the other board members.
I guess I'll start. I'm okay with them. I mean, we've been doing this for a while with committees and letting committee members call in for the same things like employment obligations and things like that. So I'm good with employment obligations. I assume a scheduling conflict might be a doctor's appointment or something like that they can't, I don't know.
What about childcare?
I'm okay with that too. I mean, I think there should also be an I that says as permission by the chair or something like that as well. But that's just my opinion. I mean,
I think let's make A that the board member must get permission, or discuss this with the chair of the board or chair of the committee if they're going to be absent. Make that A?
Wait, instead of, you mean overall they have to get permission? I don't think we should.
No, the chair of the committee, I don't think we're on the same wavelength. The chair of the committee or the chair of the board should know beforehand that they're not going to be there.
Oh, just so notify. I see what you're saying. Notify.
I agree.
So notify chair and chair of the committee?
Or, yeah. Because if it's a committee meeting, they need to let the chair of the committee know. If it's a board meeting, they need to let the chair of the board know.
So that should be up in the under the first paragraph of 2, the notification thing, because the A through H is supposed to be the real reasons you can do by remote. But I was suggesting that you could have an I that would say, and any other reason by permission of the chair of the board.
If I start number 2 saying, after providing notice to the chair of the board and or chair of the committee, comma, a member may attend, and leave it as that. And then
Yes.
other recommendation to add an I, which says, or upon permission from the chair of the board or committee.
I don't know what the sound is like on your end, but I could not hear Michelle very well.
I'm sorry, maybe echoing because we have several computers up in here. So for number 2, I'm adding at the very beginning, after providing notice to the chair of the board and
We can't hear you. I can't hear.
Okay.
It's ringing and stuff, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's almost like listening to an ultrasound.
I wasn't logging on that one, but I want to test creating a problem.
The sound is very chaotic on my end as well.
Am I better now? Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. What I was proposing is adding to the beginning of paragraph 2, upon notice to the board, the chair of the board or chair of the committee, comma, a member, and just start that paragraph with that caveat.
You're talking about at the top of the page?
Number 2, to start that paragraph with after
I see. Number 2. Okay.
after providing notice to the chair of the board or chair of the committee.
Yes. Okay.
Are you okay, Melissa, with the I as well?
Yes, I'm okay with I. And if everyone's okay with number 2, are we ready to move to number 3?
Yes, I have nothing in 3.
Yes.
Okay, under number 3.
I'm sorry, can I give one quick thing? In number 4, under paragraph A, I want to clarify.
Hey, Michelle, it started back again, so I can't hear you.
Todd has to mute his microphone.
Who?
Todd does.
Todd, can you mute your microphone? Okay,
Okay, how's this?
better.
Okay. Under 4, I didn't know if we wanted to clarify the 3 times in a calendar year, for those to be meetings of the full board, or applied to committee meetings as well.
Committee as well.
Well, 3 times in a calendar year for committee meetings? I can't. We have people who have jobs that call in from work and stuff like that. I don't know if I agree with that. I think for committees, it shouldn't be 3.
So just for board meetings, maybe?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
Does everyone, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that as well.
I agree.
I'd like to go back to number 3. We did not discuss number 3. I wanted, it says down the very last sentence, text messaging, instant messaging, email, and web chat with audio are not acceptable means of remote participation. I want that to be a little stronger, that they are never to be used for means of remote participation. I just make it a little bit stronger. That is never acceptable.
Okay.
And then for number 4, we're just going to say for you're not allowed more than 3 for board meetings. Okay, that brings us. Let's see. Number 2, a board member participating remotely will be considered present at the meeting. One of the things that I wanted to discuss is that if someone wants to call in remotely for closed, they should be required to stay for open. So if they get permission to call in remotely, it needs to be for open and closed deliberation for the full meeting.
Number 1 in that section, just above there, says that not merely for the closed session portion of the meeting or a limited number of agenda items. Do you want me to strengthen that portion?
Yeah, that would be good. Any other thoughts?
I think it's basically there already in 1. So I don't know what. I mean, there's going to be situations that may happen. It's happened in the past where people have missed closed and made open or whatever. I don't know.
The only time I've ever noticed is if someone was running late on closed, but they were there for open.
Right.
But I just think if Michelle strengthens number 1, then it's covered.
How about if I add a sentence saying that a member must plan to attend open session if he or she participates in closed session?
I agree.
I agree. Okay, does anyone have anything under number 2?
Yeah. So in order to be part of a quorum, you have to be there at the very beginning of the meeting when quorum is called, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then, and I know you had this question, Melissa, I talked to Michelle this morning. If a vote happens and you leave the meeting, your vote is a yes. So people need to remember that, and we need to put that in here just so people understand that.
Yeah, I had that under number 5, under C5. A member participating remotely shall notify the chair if leaving the meeting before it is adjourned or rejoining the meeting after a period of absence. I thought it should go in that category, that if they leave for whatever reason, then their vote will be in the affirmative.
I drafted a sentence to add to paragraph 5 that says failure to do so will be considered an affirmative vote on any actions taken by the board after leaving the meeting. I forgot to add that part of it. Does that,
Can you just be very clear that that their vote will be in the affirmative?
I don't mean to go backwards, but under 2A2, what about death in your family? Is that covered by family member illness or emergency? I had to miss a meeting because of a death in my family.
I can add illness, comma, death or emergency.
Thank you.
I'm still not crazy about childcare, or it just seems like if you run for elected office, you've taken all that stuff into consideration before you run for an elected office.
Sometimes though, there's emergencies.
But that's
Right.
covered under emergencies, right? Illness, death, or family emergency. Candace, Todd, do you have an opinion? Or are you okay with board members missing because of childcare?
I mean, I think if we're adding I, it's kind of a catch-all for the board chairs to approve based on circumstances.
I agree with Todd.
So it's a consensus that I'm taking that out?
C,
I disagree with the consensus is otherwise.
I think if there's a family emergency, then they've discussed that with the board chair or the committee chair. But I really don't think you should run for office if you can't make the meetings, if you think there's going to be a problem with your child care. Thank you, Todd. I think that brings us, let's see, where does that bring us back to? Number 2, 3. I do not have anything, any board members. Okay, we will go to B4. Any comments for B4? Hearing none, we will move on to C, procedures for remote participation. Under C1, I would like to, instead of 4 hours in advance, I'd like to make that 24 hours in advance when possible, or if possible.
I agree.
Because I know that a lot of times, you know, a couple of hours or whatever leading up to a board member, if I'm traveling or whatever, I'm not going to see that email or phone call when I walk into a meeting.
Where is that you're putting that?
C1, giving at least 4 hours notice. I was going to say 24 hours if possible. I know emergencies are emergencies, but if you can give 24 hours notice, I think that would be preferable.
I think that would probably be better for staff as well, so that they could ensure that everything's set up for
All
the
the equipment, make
Yeah.
sure all the equipment and everything's in place. And again, everyone understands emergencies happen, but let's go with 24 hours. Okay. Let's does anyone have anything for under C2, 3, or 4? Hearing none, that brings us back to C5, which we've already discussed, that if a board member leaves a meeting or rejoins after a period of absence, that any votes will be in the affirmative. And let's see, number 6, all votes will be taken by voice. And 7, I don't have anything for 7. Is everyone ready to go to D, electronic board meetings?
Yes.
What's a $25 fee for?
Yeah, I had the same question.
Likewise.
Okay, that was, and it probably doesn't apply to us as it does to other districts. That is what most of the other districts who had the complete electronic board meetings provision had when I was reviewing policies. And that's just to ensure that if there's any cost to the district to have someone remotely participate who's not on the board, that we could help defray the cost to the district. I don't know that it's, like I said, applicable for us, and it doesn't matter to me, obviously, one way or the other. This is the one portion that we've never had, and we've not ever had anybody complete, the board meeting completely be remote. And given the circumstances that we're under currently, I thought it was important that we get this taken care of so that the public understands the process.
I think we should get rid of the $25 fee. If we ever go to something that it costs money, we can add that to the policy. But for right now, I don't think it needs to be in there.
Why don't we just take out the $25 and say that we can charge a fee?
Well, but it says up to.
Well, I think what Todd is saying, take that out and just say that the board may charge a fee.
Well, I would rather have an up. If we want to leave the sentence in there, I would like a ceiling. So that's all this did. It's up to 25. So if you want to leave it in, I'm fine. But the 25 should stay. I don't want to charge more than that.
Michelle, can you give us an example why there would be a fee? For example, like today, there's would it be to cover someone an hourly salary to come in and manage equipment or something, or like what would that fee be covering?
No, it would be more of a technology, whether we needed to run some, whether we needed to increase our bandwidth, whether there were certain things that we needed to do to accomplish the task. Like I said, I think given the technology advancements in this county as opposed to others, I don't know that it's a necessary thing. I mean, your staff's being paid regardless.
Okay.
So it would be like sports live streaming where you have to. Okay.
Okay. Then I agree with Kathy. I say we just take that last sentence out.
I agree as well. How soon in advance will the public be notified that we're planning to have a remote meeting?
It would be noticed with the meeting itself, like this one was.
We have to notice the public 48 hours, right?
We notice the board meetings 48 hours in advance through board docs. And so as this meeting was labeled electronic meeting, that's how the meetings would be noticed.
Okay.
And when we would be, once we've got this obviously was the first attempt, we'll have the link and everything up. And I think Justin put the link up so that the public could watch this meeting as it was going forward. And we'd probably add the link to the board docs notice in the future.
If there's no more questions, I'll make a motion to send this to the full board at the April meeting and to fast track it. As amended, sorry.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Michelle, for doing that so quickly. That's a really good policy to have, and I really like it. Thank you. That brings us to administrative guidelines for review. A, policy 3-4, exposure to bloodborne pathogens, administrative guidelines.
If you remember, we had the administrative guidelines on the agenda last month, and the board wanted to see the committee wanted to see the school health manual, as well as some revisions to the diabetes care portion of the school health manual to ensure that we are only using equipment owned by students when we test for diabetes, for sugar levels, etc. I'm sorry, not thinking straight.
So I have a question.
Yep.
The protocol page, is that old and it's replaced by the diabetes care plan? Because, yes?
Yes, the language in yellow on the diabetes care plan is the proposed new language from the nurses that they will be inserting in the school health manual.
Okay, but does the protocol page go away that you sent us?
Yes.
Because that's not the same as the,
Correct. It
plan.
replaced
That's gonna be old, so that goes away. Okay,
correct.
okay. Okay, I'm good with the changes, so I move that we send this to the full board for first review, right?
Correct.
First review.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, closing items. Action items taken to the full board will be policies for second review. Policy 1-14, 1-22, 2-1, 2-3, 3-31, and 4-13 to the full board at the April meeting. For fast tracked, also for final review will be the remote participation in board meetings, the new policy we discussed at length, and then administrative guidelines 3-4, exposure to bloodborne pathogens.
Okay,
The other thing that we
Okay, our next policy meeting will be scheduled for April 22nd.
wait, we still have the sole source agreement.
Oh my goodness, I checked that off. I had checked that off, sorry.
well,
So,
this is
agreement.
yes, this was going to go before curriculum committee, but because this was the only item for curriculum, we've tagged it on here. This is a sole source agreement for safe and civil schools to be used. This is through Jared's department, and I think he's online. I don't think he's listening. I don't think he signed in to join the meeting in case we have any questions. And Dr. Breedlove is here as well. And we do use safe and civil schools already through our EPIC grant. I think that's correct, Dr. Houlihan. He's shaking his head yes. And so it is just expanding it for our SEL program.
I have two questions. Will this supplant PBIS?
I think that this does not supplant, it reinforces and is a part of PBIS.
Awesome. And then in the second paragraph, it talks about a grant. So the rest of the schools we got money from a North Carolina grant to do this, and Drew is shaking his head. Dr. Blair.
Can you remind me of the 11 schools?
There were 11 schools approved in what we call our Legends grant. It's through the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. We were awarded it in the fall. I don't remember, Ms. Sturdivant, the names offhand, but I know that they are all middle and high schools, and it's middle and high schools that were not part of our EPIC grant, and so it's trying to expand training to other parts of the county. I can get Dr. Strickland to send this committee a reminder of the list of those schools, but they are, I believe, the Piedmont cluster, Parkwood cluster, Sun Valley cluster, middle and high schools. I believe South Providence is one of the schools listed. I'm sorry, I just don't remember all of them offhand, but we can get that list to you.
That would be great. Also, this comes with a bullying solution plan as well, right?
I believe that's correct.
I move that we send this to the full board for approval at the April meeting.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that I'm going to repeat myself. Actions taken to the full board at the April meeting. Policies for second review will be 1-14, 1-22, 2-1, 2-3, 3-31, 4-13. And we will fast track at the April meeting, the remote participation in board meetings, the new policy. And for review, policy 3-4, exposure to bloodborne pathogens, the administrative guidelines, and the sole source agreement for safe and civil schools. I will accept a motion, or I guess I don't need a motion to send those to the full board. We've already got that. Okay, and our next board meeting will be April 22nd at 9 o'clock, and depending on the situation, we will notify the public if it's going to be at the PDC at 9 o'clock or electronic. Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Aye.
thank you, board members. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah.